I'm going to share something science fiction or maybe entertaining, maybe stupid, silly, whatever you want to call it, but I'll share it anyway. It's about false prophets and how they get information, and also about my own experience 20 something years ago when I got some data from somewhere, and now few minutes ago, maybe half an hour ago, I watched someone who claimed that God showed him, or God, Jesus showed him something from the future, from the tribulation and stuff like that. And I don't really believe everything that people put out on the internet, and I'm just sharing my own perspective on this one. You like it or not, it's your choice to continue watching what I'm going to share. Um, During a natural disaster, maybe earthquake, pandemic, whatever, people go through unpleasant experiences, and those who trust God, have hope, have love, and are more connected to God, tend to treat these world large events with different mindset, different attitude. They see this as a life challenge, like as a test, and they have hopes that God will spare them, God will make things right for them. Um, the other people, so there are a number of people who are non-believers, and they will deny the existence of God, and they have an interpretation of the reality according to their five senses and their previous experience. According to their friends, according to the sources of information they connect to. And those people are going to suffer the most. Why? Because as a human being, they want to stay informed, and the more fear they have in their mind, the more they want to be prepared, and the more they will tune into the sources of information. And in the world of information, who has the power to promote themselves, like the bigger and most powerful media stations and sources, have the power to penetrate through more people minds. So these people, generally the atheists, will tend to tune into the standard stations or sources of information, like CNN, like CBC, those big names. And those big names will never provide you with hopeful information. And like almost any media or any media outlets will try to sell you information by selling you the biggest numbers. And during the pandemic, we had this experience when the media outlets were trying to get the biggest numbers. So for them, the number of deaths were nothing emotional. So they care to get the biggest number. So for them, the more people dying of COVID meant more bigger audience. So it sounds weird, or you think I'm making stuff up, but in the world of media, they have to sell information, and they know fear means larger audience, because more fear they put out in the world, more people would tune into the news to stay informed. Same thing happens when big hurricane comes in. You will see the news, the audience goes up. And if you want to check, maybe you have the time to check the earnings of these big media outlets during the pandemic compared to the previously, before the pandemic. See how they did financially, and how the top executives, you know, made a pretty decent living during those times. So they sell you the fear. They will not sell you hope. They will not sell you love or sell you like make you feel you're loved, you are protected, someone is going to take care of you. Um, and during those times, you will see a number of so-called prophets popping up, prophesizing disastrous news. And you have to think that those will just take advantage of your emotions, the same thing like the news. So these prophets will come on different platforms and they will share stuff that they claim that they receive from God, uh, showing you some sort of a nasty picture, so you stay tuned into their channel or into whatever, whenever they show up on some TV channel or some sort of a media, you need to pay attention to what they are saying. And in a meanwhile, because for them it's a lucrative business, they don't really go to have a regular job like me and you. They write books, they sign contracts with TV shows and stuff like that, so they have TV appearances, and they make a pretty good living prophesizing stuff, but they will not prophesy something for the short term because they want this lucrative business to last longer. They might predict something for the next 20 years or something that is going to happen in 20 years. And so you cannot really tell them 2 years later that you see, okay, 2 years passed and you said something is going to happen in 2 years and nothing happened. You are a big liar. No, they have to ensure they have a source of income, and then they are gone. People, and if you look in the past on the internet, how many people have prophesied stuff and now they are gone. Nobody remembers them. So I'm not saying they are all false prophets. I'm not saying that, but I'm saying that there are lots of people who take advantage of your emotions during panic, during fear, and you need to connect the dots. See, when this prophet uh, got his information, and have I heard of this prophet before? What else he said? And let's say if it's the first time, that's okay. You know, there are people who just connect to God, or they start connecting to God and they start receiving information. That's totally fine. Someone has to start somewhere, or they were a prophet before. Nobody cared, or they did not dare to share, but now they decided to warn the people, and they go out and they seek a way to share what they know or what they sense, and that's okay. So, but I'm saying there are a number of people who are just providing false information. So you need to connect the dots. Is this person taking advantage of the pandemic or this earthquake or this famine or whatever happens to the world? Or is a person who loves God and prophesies something else in the past? Doesn't have to be a religious person or a Christian or anything like that, but maybe this person prophesies a number of things, but it went unnoticed. Why? Because people did not pay attention to the good stuff. People generally pay attention to the negative stuff, to the destructive stuff, because people are opening their mind to such things, especially people who don't live with love, and lots of people live without love. And those who live without love will connect the mind to information that's not related to love. And if these people prophesied something related to love, they had less chance and less people paying attention to their prophecy. So that's one of the reasons they might, some of those, the real one, genuine one, might have something valuable, and you don't know which is the real one, especially if you tune into the internet and you realize, okay, this guy says something, but that woman says something else. And who you believe. So you need to do some digging before you start buying into that information. Another thing is lots of prophets are not really trained, or they don't have the ability to distinguish between what came to their mind from what's already into their mind. And it happened to me. I don't have the experience. I'm having hard time sometimes to figure out what's generated by my mind, what's my current reality. Let's say if I connect to a bunch of negative type of people, that is going to alter my reality, and I'm tempted to pick on more of a destructive information, like I will see more death and destruction than if I connect to more loving and positive people. Depends of what news I'm tuning into. If I buy into the conspiracy theory, also is going to affect and alter my mind content. So lots of ingredients are at play when I have a kind of a cloud of data loaded with stuff. And now some information is coming, is not going to be like a very clear light, and like a light and night. Something that I know clearly. Sometimes yes, sometimes it's coming more clear, but sometimes it's just some bits and pieces here and there. And if my mind is busy, if I have worries, or if I'm somewhere, if I'm at work, if I'm in a city, of course, lots of information comes to mind all the time, and the mind have harder work to do in order to filter out this is junk, this is garbage, and that's information that comes from outside. And how do I know where the information comes from and if it's trustworthy information? Because even from outside, if I connect without my intent, I connect to, let's say, a demonic energy that that wants to mess up my mind. It might feed some information that might give me some excitement that, I know this is not mine, because I started to learn this is not my information. But I might get excited just because I got something, I downloaded something, and actually it could be a devil type of entity that is trying to get me in trouble, or confuse me, or lead me to something that I might do something stupid, because they do. And I'm telling you, I have to remind you, this is a science fiction topic. You don't have to listen to my crap. Yes. Some people might listen just to make fun of me. That's totally fine. The comedians, sometimes they say stupid things and they are forgiven because it's a comedy show. And they can get away even with misogynistic jokes, jokes about politicians, because it's a comedy. So I stated at the beginning of this recording, this is a science fiction. So you take it with a grain of salt, or as a science fiction, as a fiction. So the data is coming and get some people excited, especially those who have no experience. And they are really excited and pumped to share to the world. But sometimes with a good intent, they go out to the world or to friends or whatever. If they are popular, it's even more dangerous because the information now has power into the listener eyes. So the person who delivers the information is doing that task, delivers the information, but the power to that information is assigned by the audience. So if you listen to the CNN, you assign the power to that information. You think that what CNN tells you, it's really, really valuable. In my mind, I'm a different person and I say CBC and CNN information is garbage. So I assigned already, I marked that information from CNN and CBC as garbage or tainted, and I don't even tune into it. I used to tune into CNN in the past for a while when I moved to Canada. Then I realized something. I woke up kind of. Then I tuned into CBC, and I got stuck into CBC for some years, and I assigned some value to CBC because I thought it's related to Canada, my new country, and is way better than the country I came from. And I decided that I give this value. But now I'm the same person, of course changed a bit, but the same person assigned a different value to the same source of information. So in your case, you decide what value give to what I'm saying now. Could be garbage, could be entertainment. Same thing, you could decide what value assign to the information provided by a prophet. So if the prophet has the power to convince you, and it takes some of your powers of deciding away because you are godless, or maybe you trust the prophet more than you trust God, or you live with fear or something. So the more fear you have in your mind and less love, the more you would trust in a prophet that will prophesy something bad, right? So you will assign that power to that information. And that's what I'm saying. It's a prophecy can be dangerous for people because it can affect the way they perceive life, the way they protect their family, the way they prepare, the way they spend their resources. Some people listening to a false prophecy might overspend the whole. They might sell their home and buy some supplies and move to north or something. So some people might take that information very seriously, and it could alter their future. So that's why I'm saying, if you listen to what I'm saying, you need to be careful how you treat any prophecy. And regardless if those people show up on some religious channel that you trust, you can see scammers now on YouTube. You think that YouTube has some filtering system, but you see scammers. So now you see Tony Robbins, which is a trustworthy source of information for me. For you might not be significant, or you maybe never heard of Anthony Robbins. Then next ad is a scammer who tells you to buy his software because you will get a free $500 something in 1 hour, and by tomorrow you will get $5,900 on your bank account if you provide him with a email address, phone number, and sign up for his software. So that's a scammer. So if you see such a prophet into a religious channel that you trust, doesn't mean the prophet is genuine. So again, the beginner prophets don't have the ability to distinguish between what's in their mind, what's created by their mind, or what the mind loaded with information from living a life, distinguish from what came from outside their mind. And they are eager to go out and share, and they might provide you false information. So that's about not false prophets, but not really good prophets or not very experienced ones. And about more than 20 years ago, something came to my mind, like at some point, some alien entities are going to chase people. And I was hiding, but somehow these entities were able to see where I'm hiding because they were able to see through my eyes. And there was a trick that I had to learn, that if one of those devil aliens that actually kind of alien type, but not aliens the way we know, it was some sort of a weird creatures, if they were nearby, I had to close my eyes and run or hide in a way that they could not see where I am, because they, like I said, they were able to get into my eyesight. And it came to my mind at the time, and some other stuff, and I thought, yeah, it's a science fiction stuff in my head, I created from somewhere, and I said, yeah, maybe it could be good for a movie, like a scary movie, sometimes in the future. So later, so I put it aside, ignored it. But today there was a speaker on a YouTube channel, about faith and about spiritual experiences. And this guy been on the show before, and now was invited again to share his experience when he asked God or Jesus, I don't know, he asked one of those to show him the future. And he actually is a pastor, and he read about the book of Tribulation. And then he said he was very curious to see the real thing. And he said, he asked God, or Jesus, I forgot which one, to show him the truth. And he said he prayed and prayed, and a couple of days later, he popped out of his body, and some people do that. It's called astral projection, when they are being taken out of the body and then travel to another dimension. And I'll touch another thing in a second. And he said he's seen some big island, so he was given some sort of a vantage point, and he saw the ocean and a big island, and lots of like thousands of people dying, and some sort of an ocean splitting like a waterfall, and this whole mass of land was sinking or something. I don't know if my suggest you Atlantis scenario. We as humans, we don't have a exact data of the Earth history, how some continents sunk and how worlds came and went, and if Earth actually had some sort of a recycled history, like of events, like worlds came, humans, or different, even big type of people like the Greeks gods. Greeks have this type of mythology about some huge people with huge, big powers and able to do very special things. So we have this mythology, but it could have some roots that we don't know. At the time, we did not have a written history. We did not have Facebook to pass on some accurate information from people to people. Yeah, word of mouth and what we saw in archaeological discoveries. But what I'm saying here, uh, he was describing that there were a number of stages during this tribulation, and people marked with a mark of the beast are going to be left. So the people of church or something are going to be taken during the rapture or something. And I don't know what he saw. Was clear, or was he dreaming? Maybe he had a very lucid dream or something, and he thought he just popped out of the body, because we can't believe everything people are saying on YouTube. I'm just sharing what I heard from this guy. It's an Australian pastor. And then at some point, there were a number of people left, like Gentiles. The Gentiles left in the world for 7 years, and then he said something about people marked with the beast, by the beast or something like that, and how the big Satan or something is allowing some of his evil creatures to open some gates, underground gates, to allow demonic creatures to populate the earth and chase these people who are marked by the beast. And he said that these demonic creatures will sting the like the scorpion will have some sort of a claws with venom and will sting these people, and these people will live in agony and pain, and for a number of days nobody can die, and they wish they could die because of the pain and suffering, but it's not possible for them to die at the time. And so yeah, he described this type of world of suffering, and he suggests that he and other Christians are going to be taken away during the rapture, and they are going to be around God. So you don't have to believe every science fiction out there and every mind creation, because you don't know in what state of mind that pastor been into at the time of his dream or something else. But also, I want to share here, before I conclude this video, there was a guy who did scientific research on the astral projection. I didn't know what astral projection mean. I never heard of it. And then I started reading a number of years ago, and I tried to read a book. I found it online, written by Monroe. I forgot his first name. I forgot. And this guy was an audio engineer, so a sound engineer, and he went into this state of the mind when he was able to pop out of his body, but not his soul was popping out of the body, and the soul, which is an intelligent type of energy, was able to travel at will through space, including the space around Earth, and to different cities. But after a while, he got experienced and started to travel at will in time, back in time. And he is talking about how he was meeting different people who just died, and they were supposed to travel through some sort of a data bus, kind of a data avenues connecting different realms. And at some point he said, you know what, I was assisting these souls, the departing souls, to travel for a little bit, giving them comfort. And I thought that's kind of a weird science fiction, weird, really weird stuff. And then at some point he said, you know what, he went into a space where he could see everything like angelic and beautiful light, and everything is like with some glow, like people talk about heaven. And there was a music there, and so he was still connected to the body on the lab. So he was still connected through a silver cord. So people who do astral projection, including people doing magic, black magic and witchcraft and those, uh, when they do that, they know there is it's called silver cord that connects their soul to the body, and if that's broken, they cannot return to the body. And so he is still flying somewhere into that space, and at some point he decided to listen to that music pattern, because he was a sound engineer, and he listened. It's pleasant music, but he realized this music keeps repeating itself. And he thought, oh, this looks like an automatic system where this soul is being put into, and even the cloud patterns kept repeating themselves. And I thought, oh, I thought it was nice and pleasant to see these bright colors and beautiful beings and stuff. But he started to learn, because his mind was pretty bright, he was pretty good. He started to learn that this is a pattern. It's like the souls are being sent to some place where it's kind of a program. And then another of his experience was when he met the creators. So I'm telling you, this is science fiction. So he met the creators like human likes, like humans, but bigger humans. And he asked them, you know, like, what happens? He said, yes, we created, but we left. So somehow they created the current humans, and they left Earth. They decided to leave their bodies behind, and somehow they all decided to kind of die their bodies and to live at will somewhere else. So he described that he spoke to some advanced humans ancestors, like a kind of a creator of the humans, who were bigger but looking like humans. And now talking about the other guy saying about like a bigger creatures. And also last night was another one, a Chinese or a Asian guy, I like a Chinese guy, a pastor, talking about long